Perfect. Over to you, Tarun. You're the man of the hour.
Thanks, Ajat, for the intro and handing over this platform. Uh, good morning to all. Basically, if you talk about my experiences, my name is Tarun, and I've been looking after digital marketing, say, from past 13 years. I've been in this field and helping different sort of, say, brand, either in B2B space or B2C space to grow and help them with the demand generations, basically. And to give you a, say, a geography expansion, which I help companies like, say, MoEngage, Cash Free in India market. When I joined these companies, these were not that big, including Simply Learn, that right now it's a tech giant. Just give me 1 second. And help them to grow globally across all different geographies altogether. So, yeah, and let's start with the presentation. Do let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, your screen is visible.
So to begin with, marketing is very core function of any organization. Basically, it helps to build a gap between sales and the lead. Because lead are the person who are going to pursue your product now or tomorrow, and marketing help them to nurture, give the brand introduction to those leads so that the conversion become easy for any salesperson. Am I audible?
Yes, Tarun. Yes, you are. You are.
And if I move to our next slide, we talk about why B2B SaaS marketing is very unique. Because if you see any SaaS businesses, it revolves around three core model. One is a subscription. The other, which is a pain area for any business uh, in B2B cycle, is the complex and the buying cycle. Because usually the buying cycles take a longer tenure because the deal which you are sitting at, it's little bit of say high value than any B2C. The third is again one of the core area is marketing and sales synergy, because both this function in any organization, they are always head to head. Why I say head to head? Because sales always blame marketing for not generating a qualified leads, which can help them to close the deal faster. But you have to understand that marketing is a function where we try to get you as many lead as the people are searching for your product, or say the product discovery made easy by marketing as a team. So now coming to a key terminology which people use across organization. If you are in B2B space, you can easily correlate this terminology flowing on your flows, like say CAC. What is the customer acquisition cost? Generally people want to keep it low as much they can. Plus, what's the lifetime value? If suppose X amount has been spent to acquire that customer and that customer has been onboarded, then what's the lifetime value you can earn from that customer? Then third term is MRR, which is monthly recurring revenue. What's the monthly that company which you are onboarded is paying to the company? Third, fourth basically is one of the dynamic metrics, that is churn rate, which is the red flag in any system. Because if they don't like service, they don't like the product, or they are not happy with their customer support, quietly they are going to look for the competitors of yours, or you are going to lose the account. So that's the churn rate. Now coming to say MQL and SQL. Now MQL and SQL are very common in nature, because MQL stands for market qualified leads. So market qualified leads, before doing any marketing campaign, marketing as well as the sales leader need to sit and make those judgment that these are market qualified leads. So in that case, what will happen, that a marketing team will try to run a campaign on different platform, make thinking of that, whatever lead they bring, they are aligned with the sales. Now SQL is again a terminology which is used by salespeople, seeing the intent of that lead in the funnel. When I say in the funnel, how inclined he is pursuing the product, or he's engaged with the product to take a call whether to go for it or not. And the last one, sixth one, is inbound marketing. The lead which come through any inbound channel. When I say inbound, basically it includes the platform where the people have shown interest. It might be say landing pages, it might be on the through search result, blog article, thought leadership. Those kind of activity will lead to an inbound marketing effort, which any marketer drives in an organization. If any one of you have any question, please bring it on. Happy to take those.
Yeah, guys. So for this session, there are only 2 guests. So if anybody has any doubts in between, feel free to raise your hand. And, I think Tarun will be there to help you out. Yes, yes, Sagar.
Can you define some metrics or benchmark for these terminologies like CAC, MRR, or churn rate? Some sort of benchmarks like for the industry, like what should be like the given facts, like whatever.
Okay, the CAC metrics will differ as per the industry where you are working in. It's not a very constant across. I can't say that this is a CAC, because from my experience, the CAC has been different for different market as well as the geographies. Like suppose the CAC could be very high in the US market compared to India. It will be little bit say more on the higher side if you talk about South Asia market or APAC. Same goes for the European market. So if I see geography, the product, and whom you are, means in which field you are in, as per that the CAC is determined. To give a brief idea, like US is one of the difficult market in terms of CAC, because the CAC is very high over there. To give you a live example over here, like at MoEngage, when we were trying to penetrate the US market, the CAC goes to near about say 1 lakh rupees also. If I talk about in INR, in USD it will be close to say 80 to 90K, but they were paying us near about 80,000 MRR, those kind of accounts I'm talking about. And you asked about churn rate also, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, the some metrics.
So churn rate basically when your customer support team interacts with your customer, so within that span of time, they will come to know that what is they are thinking on or what is on their mind. So basically, it's like a NPS score. If you are in if you are from the HR background, also most of the companies they run the NPS score. Similar way, you need to do that analysis with the account which you are handling, like whether they are happy. Because from my understanding, there are three key pointers which is a red flag. Like if the price of your product is too high than your competitors, and the support is not very relevant as per that price tag, then people are about to churn. That happens across any geo. It might be say India, might be say US, might be say Europe nations, or say European countries and Southeast Asia market. But in India and Southeast Asia market, you can just elevate your services up to mark, and it can help the companies, help those companies in what areas they are looking for your expertise help, and that will help you to reduce the churn rate. So those are the again metrics which you have to monitor very closely to understand that how it's going, how it's shaping up. Because in this market, what I have personally feel that people are not that loyal until unless the price tag what they are in, because there is always a platform. Because in SaaS businesses, it's again a every year contract which we need to renew after a year. So in that case, there is always a window for your competitor to step in and pitch some good product, good service, and you are bound to lose that account. So that happens very rarely, but it happens. It's very common in SaaS businesses, which I've personally experiences and have handled few. Plus, you have to again say you can take the marketing help, to give them, or say CSM help over there to again to monitor, to resolve their query as soon as possible. So those things will help you to reduce this churn rate.
Okay, thanks. Got it.
Just to add to Tarun, Sagar, if you're looking for a SaaS industry point of view, the CAC to LTV is 3:1. That's considered like a phenomenal CAC to LTV ratio. And if you talk about churn, like typically the idea is to maintain below 5%. From a SaaS perspective, yeah, that's the number. Over to you, Tarun.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Any other question? Anyone of you, if you have, please bring it on. Okay, so I'm just moving ahead now. Now we will stand some basic terms of say B2B marketing and especially digital marketing. Digital is something which helps to generate inbound leads. So basically there are top 5 channels which I have just put in for your pictograph so that you can have a better understanding, like say SEO and the content marketing. SEO and the content marketing basically helps you to drive more traffic to your website. If people are very interested or inclined towards your product, this is a good way. Or if you have found that this is the problem and this is the solution which your company provides, so this is a good way to attract those users. Basically can increase the top level tofu from this. Then second is a PPC. PPC is again a paid ads, basically on which you can run on say Google, LinkedIn, Meta. So here also, if you see all those B2B companies, they use LinkedIn very aggressively. The reason being, LinkedIn gives you a advantage that you can target the C-level executive or the decision maker directly. Google Ads is again one of the tools where you can run few search ads. Reason being, most of the people, they ask their -2 to do this research and come back. And most of the company, they need at least 3 quotes for any solution which you're providing for the product so that they can negotiate the rate. They are basically a process. So they will ask the -2 levels guys to do those research, market research, and come up with the quotes. Third is email and the nurture campaign. When I say email and nurture campaign, so in all the companies B2B, they do a lead scrapping or they mine the data from LinkedIn or some platform like say Lucia, Apollo, and they start doing an email campaign so that they make the people or those user aware of your product and the service so that they are inclined towards your product. So the discovery phase happen through, or say product is introduced to them through email, and slowly the paid marketing campaigns or through SEO, they come to your landing pages or the website and they fill the details. In that way, the intent of that lead from cold, it become a hot lead because people have signed up for a demo or so on. Nurture campaign, basically nurture campaign happens when the lead is moving from tofu to mofu. Like when I talk about tofu, the interaction through email campaign or on the cold leads, that was again a tofu part. But when people have signed up for your product on your landing page or the website, that become a part of the nurture campaign. From there, the nurturing will start so that you can send them some newsletter, product update on say daily or the weekly basis, so that you don't burst them also with a lot of email going through, but you can make sure that from the marketing lens, how that lead movement happened from mofu to bofu. So through that journey, you need to do a lot of the nurture campaign. Fourth one is a webinar and the virtual events. Like most of the companies, they take part in the virtual event or say physical event in some or other form, basically to showcase their product and service to the globe or to the target personas whom they are targeting. Webinars is again a very good way to portray the thought leadership in the organization to your potential buyers so that they don't get lost. So it again can be if you see, it can be a very good tool to move the leads from mofu to bofu. And fifth one would be the social media, because right now if you see, most of the people or C-level executive, they are very active on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is one of the platform where every B2B brand should be there, because it will help them to spread awareness in the market plus portray some thought leadership. Like most of the companies I have seen in person, they are very much active because they want to have a say communication or exchange of thoughts with the investors, with the internal as well as the external stakeholders altogether. Any question on this?
Yes, Akshay. Please ask your doubt.
Yeah. Hi, Tarun. Just
Yes,
a quick question.
yeah.
In terms of companies starting out their inbound marketing journey, how do you see out of these fives they should focus on what steps and when they should involve, PPC, email marketing, webinars when they're getting started?
So see, when they start, any company which start, they don't have that much marketing budget altogether to put in. Okay. Plus, it also depend on which market they want to penetrate first. I just take a live example from my experiences at Moengage. First, it was India and South Asia market. In South Asia market, also Indonesia was the primary market for us to get some attraction. When we know that we have cracked few, say, good accounts, like say Tokopedia was from say Indonesia, and that was equivalent to Flipkart of India. You know, we got onboarded with them, and they were paying us 20K MRR. So those accounts we were able to crack through word of mouth, through Investor Connect. Those were the initial interaction. But post that, we built some case study, and we started doing that so that all the people from different in from the specific industry, like say Tokopedia was a again e-commerce platform. So we were trying to penetrate the e-commerce market in Indonesia through those case studies, so that the second or the third e-commerce also come to us on our platform. They start using more engage. So that was the strategy which we built in. But when you're starting up, I would say that cold email campaign would be a very good to go, because that will give a trust. And until unless you crack one or two accounts, so you can start elevating those to say SEO as well as the PPC strategies.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone has any other question for this particular? No, Tarun, nothing. You can move ahead.
Yes. So these are the just benchmarking, but again, this is holistic. Holistic benchmarking I have done, but this will change as per the industry where you are in. Like say if you talk about SEO, SEO can give you say 1.9% of say conversion, and this is again I would say that depends on the market, also geography. Like say if we talk about India, US, this number will change. In APAC market also this number will change, but this is a holistic benchmarking which I have done. LinkedIn ads ROI is little on the higher side because you get your target persona over there. All your ICPs are on LinkedIn platform and they are very active over there. So this will help you to get more. Plus, one more important point is how you attribute your leads. Generally, what happened that most of the marketers, they attribute their leads on the last click. I would say that in B2B market, that's a wrong way to attribute leads. Reason being, leads, any lead who comes to your platform, it will have a multiple touch point. Like he will start with a cold email campaign. Again, after cold email campaign, he might download some ebooks or say white papers which you have put on the website. Then it might be a case that on the webinar or say any physical event, you have a face-to-face interaction. Post that, he gives you a meeting. So if you see from the marketing lens, it has say a 3 direct interaction before it gives a final say a platform, a final call to the sales team, that this guy is really interested. So that's the reason why I put LinkedIn on the higher side, because all the C-level executives, they keep exchanging notes over there. Now, one common point is that lead to MQL conversion. Now, lead to MQL conversion is 39% because that is directly owned by the marketing and the sales. When I say sales, so sales and marketing people need to interact and have some common metrics, like a company which has raised say 5 CR or above. That can be one of the qualified metrics for them. Then how recently they have raised the fund, because they need money to buy any platform in B2B space. It can't happen that they are looking for something and you pop in and they buy the product from you. Third is who has filled the form. C-level executive, or say senior manager, or say manager, then assistant manager. So those parameters need to be defined. Then if that is defined, in that case, lead to MQL percentage will be always on the higher side. Then one of the major question which people ask, if you do any webinar or if you do any physical event, so what is the outcome of that? So most of the time, what I personally feel that that's a very difficult question to answer and tackle, because if you talk about say finance team, they will send that marketing has spent this much money, or sales team have spent this much money in attending this webinar or say physical event. Out of that, what they have got. So these are the webinars or the physical events are the activities to persuade the user. It's not for the direct onboarding or say direct sales happening over there. People exchange note, they come to know that, oh, this kind of company is also there and they offer this kind of service. It might be a similar what they are looking at, but to approach that, it is difficult to again convince the finance team who has already asking question, what is the conversion, because they have already invested some money over there. So that need to be tackled in a different way. Now, social media impact. Now, on social media, what the growth trajectory is, that is important metrics from the marketer lens, because if you are doing a right thing, then this follower metrics across different platform will increase. And it also matters that how active are you on those social media platform. It might be say LinkedIn, might be say Twitter, might be say, miss, if we take about the lot of say platform right now, Quora, Reddit, those are also typical platform. Means how I see is now the content engagement is again important part. So content, if you talk about content, there should be a proper strategy for content. There are very different models altogether, like say Fab, which talk about say feature, advantage, and benefit. So those models need to be there when you write a content, because those content will pop out to your potential buyer, and it should be very easy and constructive way to handle that. These are the pain point of the user, and as a solution provider, how I tackle that, this is my feature, and these are the advantage with me which you won't get with your competitors, which can be your USPs also. Benefit, how we are helping you to convert faster or say move faster in the race, because nowadays no one want to wait, or get the actual product out, because most of the time what happened that in B2B space, people try to roll out the product in the phase wise. So that's the important metrics that, phase one is this, phase two is this, and that's why I talk about feature, advantage, and benefit. Now, lead attribution on social channels, like all the B2B, all the players in B2B space, they are very much active on all the platforms. It might be say YouTube, might be say LinkedIn, might be say Reddit, Quora. People are starting talking about it and making a buzz about their product, whatever. In fact, the product hunt is also a good to go place, because most of the B2B players, they launch their product on product hunt. And share of voice in the industry, again, from the branding lens, if your industry is into niche area, that's again a good metrics to have. This how you can measure is also like you might have say search console and other platform where your brand term search volume you can easily read and how you are going, because if you're working in the positive way, that needs to go up. Any question over here?
No, Tarun, I think no one has.
Okay, so I'm just moving ahead now. When you are building anything from zero, I think one of you asked this question, why it is important and how to go about it. So basically, here I have defined step by step for inbound system what is need to be done. First is that ICP. You define your buyer persona. Who are the people or who are your ideal customers whom you want to target, and understand their pain points and their decision making process. Suppose if it is an enterprise account, if you want to target, so there the sales cycle is longer. Plus, to reach the right ICP, like the decision maker or director and above, will take some time. It might be a case that you started with say associate manager guys, and slowly through your drip campaign or through your webinars or through your content efforts, through your paid marketing efforts, you are able to go slowly to the top level people who are the decision maker in that organization. Plus, you can also run a ABM campaign when you know that these are the right personas, or if you have a team who can give you direct access to the email ID or say phone numbers. Now, creating a valuable content. Now, how to explain to the user that these are your pain areas and how you can resolve them. Most of the time, I personally feel that people are not aware what their pain areas are until unless someone communicates the same to them. So, if you see, the content is the uh, key playbook, I would say, that to explain those. So how you can communicate is that you can communicate through writing a blogs, then writing white papers, explain them through YouTube videos. That's the reason why most of the B2B companies, they have a product explainer videos nowadays, you know. And case study will help you to penetrate that market. So for example, like earlier I was mentioning, like we had onboarded Tokopedia at MoEngage, and through that we were trying to penetrate other e-commerce player in Indonesia market. It might be say from different industry verticals, like say fintech, might be say uh, baby selling a baby product, or say again people who have a fleet service. So we were trying to communicate, because when you have a brand, one big brand, it's easy to monetize on that. Plus again, you have to when you segregate those accounts, it's very clear demarcation need to be done that under which stage the account is, like awareness, consideration, or say decision maker, because this will help you to plan your marketing or say plan your sales pitch accordingly. Third is optimize your website for conversion. So if you, I don't know if you have heard of say Clearbit earlier. So Clearbit, the product as such was that it is to redefine the content of the website as per the user. Like suppose if someone is coming from medical, then they used to convert those normal say content on the website from the medical lens, because the terminology, everything remains the same, but how they write and talk about the same terminology is very different across different industry. Fourth point is that you need to implement some marketing automation. So when I say marketing automation, the tools like say MailChimp, HubSpot, or if you go above, it can be say Salesforce, that tools need to be there to automate. Fifth point would be launching a targeted campaigns. So everyone needs a traffic on the website, and they need to attract, engage, and capture those leads effectively. So you need to target the pain areas and drive the campaign accordingly. It can't be that if I'm targeting any CFO, but my communication is as per CHRO, it's not going to work for me. Plus, if you are driving any person to the landing pages, the communication should be as per the ad creative, whatever. Like say, if I was targeting CFO, then CFO is mostly will understand the OPEX things, company profit and loss statement. Though if it is a CHRO, then CHRO will again understand the retain, how to retain the employees, or what, how to improve the employee NPS scores. Those are the key metrics which need to be thoughtful before you launch any targeted campaign to get better say conversion out of that. Now, the last point is setting up the lead scoring model. Like whenever the user has started interacting with any of your marketing campaigns, then you have to put up the lead scoring model or say lead attribution model. So basically the last click model which default Google gives you on say ads or say LinkedIn gives you, that need to be changed. It need to be attributed as a linear model. Linear model, why I'm saying so, because all those touch points are very well, need to be very well defined. Like you are acquiring a customer through paid ads, that's fine, but the journey, the buying cycle itself is a 3 to 6 months. In that case, he is not convinced only by filling the form, getting the demo from you. There are a lot of the other activities which play very vital role in conversion of that. Any question over here?
Yes, Saksham.
Tarun, can you just go a little bit deep on like what criterias can we have for lead scoring? Internally, how do we decide, or like what criterias do we have, or like what kind of attributes we can set for like making it a proper MQL?
Okay. So I'll just take the example of say MoEngage because it's very close to my heart. At MoEngage, whenever we are penetrating any new geography or with us, because all the if you see MoEngage, they have a different set of competitors in different market altogether. But as a company, we want to penetrate and get some say a market share, say 5% or 10% month on month. So what we did that we started with the paid campaign first. It might be say Google ad or say LinkedIn ads. The people have filled the form, they have shown interest. Post that, basically if you talk about the attribution, then we were following a linear model of attribution. So suppose we have given the 10 score because uh, the lead was at the discovery stage. They discovered us through Google ads. They have filled the form, demo happened. Post demo, again it went to our nurturing campaign. When I say email drip campaign, basically that will say nurturing. There will be a series of say email. Post that G2 know or Gartner magic quadrant happened. We send them again an email on Gartner magic quadrant. The people have again click on it. They went to a landing page again to download that report or say they have filled the form again. So basically, if you see the journey of that user from cold campaign to Google Ads, from Google Ads to Gartner Magic Quadrant. So last, ideally, if I follow a last click model, then all the weightage should be given to Gartner Magic Quadrant. But that's not the right way because the discovery phase has played a very vital role. So 15% will go to say first touch point as a channel, which was Google ad, then 10% on the email drip campaign, then again 30 can be on the last click, which was the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Post that the meeting happened and the closure has happened. So that way you have to again finalize what can be the journey of this user.
Understood. Thank you.
That answer?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Any other question? Anyone?
Guys, any questions? Feel free to raise your hand. No, I think we are good, Tarun.
So moving ahead now, tools and technology which can help to power your inbound system. You know, so CMS and the SEO tools are the primary. CMS, when I say that, those are content management platform or the system or software, you can say. Like most of the companies, they have WordPress for the CMS, or they need tools like say Hrefs or SEMrush to understand that what the keyword they are targeting and what much potential they have. So in that case, these tools are good enough to give you a keyword gap. You can fill in, write the content accordingly. Apart from that, they can also map your content with your competitors. So you can discover those gap and fill in while writing those content. Plus, there are other factors also like say domain authority, page authority, which come to a picture, which you need to revisit and keep observing because most of the time people mark this metrics against their top competitors. Like say at cash free, when I was working with the cash free, we were marking us with say Reserpay, which was the market leader at that point in time. So this happened across industry. People generally mark these metrics as per the top competitor, which is not a good practice because suppose your top competitor is sitting at say 80 domain authority and you are just starting off, you won't have 80 in a year or so. It will take some time to build that trust to all the Google algorithm or say any search engine or say any AI way. Now, a second would be say marketing automation platform. You need to have one unified dashboard where all the leads are put in and you can know at which stage they are in and how they are interacting. And this should be again a platform where both sales and marketing should have a visibility on it, because see, sales guys put their blood and soul to bring that lead on board. You have to understand that as a marketer, your role is to bridge that gap. It should be easy for sales guy to pitch in, get him a demo. That's the role of the marketer. Okay, so this thing can happen through automation platforms, because automatically whatever activity the user does on the platform, it might be say your website or say landing pages, so they fill in the forms, they keep engaging with your emails. So these things or this metrics need to be shared with the salesperson who is handling those accounts, because they will come to know that, how the user journey has been, how they are interacting. If they are not interacting, so it might be case that they can give a call or they go in person and meet them, because this will help to keep the warmth of that lead. Otherwise the sales cycle will be broken. Now the CRM system, so when I say about automation, it includes, see, most of the platform like say HubSpot or Marketo or Pararod, they have 360-degree marketing suite which can work across all the function. Might be say marketing, might be sales. When I talk about CRM system is basically a platform where all the leads are put in, but it's not necessarily they can do all the activities which automation system does. Like say Pipedrive doesn't give you much of the channels wise segregation. Mailmodo or those platform are just for sending email, but CRM system are basically whole stack which capture the lead coming from anywhere in the system. Might be say scrap lead, might be say inbound leads, or might be a lead coming from social media. Means anywhere you can just dump the lead over there, allocate to a respective salesperson to take it forward. Now the fourth is say analytics dashboard. So right now I think most of the analytics dashboard are held by marketing. It might be say Google Analytics, might be say Google Search Console, but those data are not shared with everyone. Reason being, most of the people are they're busy in their own schedule. Like salespeople won't understand the analytic dashboard, and it's not of their KPIs also to see those metrics and understand those. But for marketing angle, it is important to understand that how the things are moving ahead. Which channel is working for us, which channel is not working. If some channel is working, it might be a case that we haven't looked well those channels to generate those kind of lead. So generally people miss those because they don't see it on the regular basis. It might be a case that you did some activity on the Reddit, and from there you have got one lead, and it might that it get converted sooner than any other leads which has come to your platform. In that case, that's a signal for the marketing teams to take up those channels very aggressively and go on putting on the content which is working for them. Any question over here?
No, Tarun, I think we can go ahead.
Now, setting the expectation right, basically I would say that most of the time it happens that sales or marketing, as a marketer, we go to the sales whenever we have got some leads. We go with them and say to the salesperson, now this campaign has given us this lead, what is happening to it? This generally happen across the organization. So most of the organization, they don't understand this in a clear sense, why this marketing guy has suddenly started speaking to me. So basically what happened that marketing force, whenever they get a lead, it might be a junk lead also, but they will start popping or say asking the salesperson what is happening to it. So ideally there should be a expectation should be set right, because when you start any campaign in B2B space, it needs some time, because most of the platforms, they have their own AI engine as of now. Like suppose if you talk about say Google Ads, now they have a machine learning algorithm coming in, instead of say manual CPC or other data. Now they just ask, when you create a campaign, they generally ask, in which way you want to optimize it. So most of the people, they choose a conversion, because they want to increase the conversion of those campaign. So initially I would say that whenever you start any marketing activity on any platform, ideally should give 1 to 2 months time to it, so that the campaign is mature, as well as the in search Google algorithm are mature enough to give you a right output. Now second is to build the momentum. So most of the people, they keep taking it on the regular basis. So in inbound, basically, I would say that, to build that momentum, you can start slow, but gradually increase the budget so that you can see the pattern, how it is going, and what is the CPL metrics, and how is it is blending with your CAC. Now, in the growth phase, you can start with say multiple campaign. I would say that you can start with search, PMAX, YouTube ads, but you should know that how it is conversing for you, whether it's working for you or not. In YouTube, basically, YouTube is very good for the tofu, but at bofu level, I don't think that it's very good because you need to have multiple video. If you have a video team inside your say in control, basically inside in-house video team who can keep pushing 2 or 3 videos every week, then it makes sense. You can use them at the bofu, like doing a remarketing through YouTube videos. Those things can happen. So down the line, what happened that because sales always chase the very aggressive numbers. After a year or so, it can happen that sales is chasing this much because you need to present your say budget, marketing budget. Most of the finance or C-level executive at that level must be knowing that uh, finance team always asks what is the marketing budget. So when you know that your sales team is targeting this much, so this much can happen through outbound or say cold or lead scrapping team can contribute this much. Post that, all things need to be drive through inbound, especially in the market like India, which is very competitive. This understanding one should have that how much inbound will contribute, because the ideal persona is that it is always 60-40 contribution. 60 come from inbound and 40% come from outbound. When I say outbound, basically from lead scrapping team or through any other activities where the people or the user are not filling the direct form on the website or not taking any correct action on the website. So usually that maturity needs to come from the marketing lens as well as from the sales to understand those. Now, some key benchmark conversion which I'm talking about. Generally, in any industry, visitor to lead percentage can be 2%. It depends industry to industry. So if I talk about fintech industry in India, it is near about say 50% for us, visitor to lead conversion. Lead to MQL percentage can be 39 or it can be 50 depending on the season. Like if I talk about say payment gateway business, so mostly post the Shera, that conversion percentage lead to MQL is 50% and above. Now MQL to SQL, this varies as per the process set inside the company, how they qualify any MQL. Because until unless sales and marketing people speak and understand those definition clearly, they can't define this. So ideally, I will say that most of the broken pieces between sales and marketing is between MQL to SQL handover. So ideally, you need to speak with your say marketing guy and say that these are the ideal target personas whom they are targeting, and you can fix few parameters. It might be say company with this valuation, then who has filled the form, a company of this size, company from this industry. Those can be a parameters defined to qualify any lead to MQL, and post that if the intent is high, they can move to SQL bucket. Now, generally, SQL to customer percent in any organization is near about 20 to 30%. Either they will give you a book. You can book a demo with them, or they will be in the pipeline for considering you for the future reference. Basically, if it is a contract, a year contract, you get a window for next year. And few things which need to be optimized on the regular basis from the marketing lens, I would say regular content updates and repurposing them across different platform, A/B testing of campaign in the CTA. Why I say A/B testing campaign in the CTA? Because if you see online, there are a lot of reports of benchmarking any industry. Ideally, if you say that any brand terms, if you're doing any brand campaign, the CTR is say above 10 or say 15, that can't be a benchmark number, I would say that, because it can be 30% also, it can be 50% also. It depends how well you have defined your target market, how well you have defined your say a campaign theme, so that this can go up. A/B testing need to be very necessary, because right now, if you see, most of the people who comes on the website, they look for a generic terms. Uh, from the fintech, if I talk about payment gateway is very generic term. Most people, they come to understand what the payment gateway is, but the intent of buying that product or say avail that solution is not that great until unless people search for payment gateway for e-commerce. Now here it's little long tail keyword, payment gateway for e-commerce. There are four letters in it. So intent is little high because it might be a case that a guy who is starting any e-commerce, he's looking for this solution. He's not aware. So intent is high over there. But those kind of people or search volume of those terms are little lower than the generic term. As a marketer, you should always capitalize on the intent or that lead who is coming or interacting with your property. That is most important because those people will convert faster than people who are searching for generic term. So here I would say that for generic terms like say payment gateway or say a push notification for any businesses, like push notification is from Moinge's side of things, payment gateway is from Cash Free. So payment gateway is a generic term. If you're looking to get more traffic or spread awareness, to do it through SEO. When you're looking to build the pipeline and helping the sales team to close faster, go with a little long tail keywords like say payment gateway for e-commerce, payment gateway for online store or bookstore, those kind of terms. Attribution model need to be refined because there is no permanent way to resolve this. Every quarter you can see that what is happening with your lead and how they are moving in the funnel. It might be say up or down. So in that case, you have to remodel it again and again, I would say that. And persona and messaging evolution. This can't happen on the day one itself. You have to be little mature, give that campaign or give that understanding to the market that whom you're targeting and what the defined way to message reach out to them through your email campaign or through the messaging. That evaluation need to happen on daily basis or say monthly basis to understand, because it might be a case that when you start a campaign, you start with say 5 or 6 themes at one go, but if you keep seeing the metrics, you come to know that this theme is working for you, this theme is not, then you have to take a call, pause that theme or pause that campaign, then drive on the new themes. Because I would say that instead of say depending on say benchmarking report, create your own benchmark, because you know inside what is happening better than following the benchmark report. Any question over here?
Tarun, I'm just curious about the benchmarks that you have mentioned. So I just wanted to understand. So, so which benchmark you would say that is most misleading if we take it at just face value?
So see, on the face value, I would say that all the benchmark is done by the third party. People from different industry, they will have a different benchmark. I would say that because they know their industry or they know the how you compete, how you are losing to your competitors. You know that in and out of that world, then someone else doing it. Because benchmarking is something that is industry standard. I read one benchmark that 3% CTR is good for any campaign. So if I need to follow that, then all the campaigns, whatever I'm doing is good enough. Because you know how Google or say LinkedIn, those things come into a picture. Ideally, I would say that when you see from the top of the funnel, always the industry where you are operating in, there is a leader. Try to get their benchmark and map that to you when you're starting off. So benchmark your metrics to them. That will give you a proper say definition, like this is the gap which I need to fill in and how to go about it. Like suppose I'll just take one random example. Like if you talk about say push notification term, okay, in US altogether it will be close to 9K search volume from the Google keyword planner. This is the metrics, okay, and there is already few players which are very popular. Say they have very similar kind of offering which Moengage used to have. Like there was a wait, I'm just forgetting the name. There was a company called Lean Plump, if you've heard of, Braze, if you've heard of. Okay, so Braze was the market leader in the US market for all this automation platform. similar offering which Moinges offers. Okay, so Braze is to have a near about the search of that search volume, near about say 50% is to go, and they are little say a legacy kind of company. All the banking sectors, all the e-commerce, they follow Braze only. Okay, so in that case, that gives you a room that what Braze doesn't have and what you have to offer. Then you can build your USP over that, or you try to understand that what pain areas they have which you can resolve for. So those can be a strategy how can you move. So in terms of benchmarking, I would say that never go with the third party benchmark, go with your competitor benchmarking. Like if you are in the industry, if you know that this person has this many traffic or this many people coming in, and out of that, suppose your conversion percentage might be here and there. Okay, it might be 2 or 3%, but you know that if this is the percent of people coming to those websites, so ideally my conversion percent should be say 5 or 6%, which my top competitor has. So ideally for me also that can be a benchmark to evaluate where I'm standing as of today.
Got it. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other question?
Anyone, any other question for this particular slide? No, Tarun, I think we can go ahead.
Fine. Now I think alignment, how to align sales and marketing expectation. I think this is one of the uh, key gap which need to be filled across any organization, because what I personally feel that those two functions, they don't talk to each other. Though the leader talk, but the people who are in this function, they don't talk to each other, because they don't know what is happening, why the marketing team is pushing toward this lead, or marketer doesn't understand that why sales need this kind of leads for faster closer. First thing is that the qualified leads, marketing team is always can't fulfill all the leads or requirement which come from say sales. That's fine, because marketing needs to do a lot of the other activities which help them to nurture. It might be say nurture activities or making those lead qualified for the sales. So it is a process, it takes some time. It can't happen from day one. Suppose a cold lead which has come into a system, or the inbound leads has come to a system, they need to understand that whether this is my potential buyer, or say he can buy us when. That's the big question. Since they are into system, it takes some time to understand their intention, for what intention they have come to our platform. In everyone's CRM, there would be XYZ leads which come from their computer brands. It doesn't matter what the intention is, just to understand their platform, they do this activity. Or this might be a junk lead which shouldn't be passed to the sales team, because it will be wastage of their time and effort calling them, following up with them, or to understand whether they meet their criteria or not. So those things need to be taken care by marketers, not by the sales team, I would say. Now the sales and marketing need to sit and define each and every say parameters very clearly, so that for marketers that become a go-to strategy, that this kind of personas will help us to convert better. In fact, they should always understand from the marketing lens. Like I'll just take the example, like say from the cash free payments, there were few relevant sectors for us where we were where we were easily outbidding our competitors, like say Razorpay. So Razorpay, if I talk about, they were very famous in the startup world. All the e-commerce, they used to follow Razorpay ka payment gateway. But for us at Cashfree, what we figure out, there are the two industry verticals where people accept us very easily. One was online gaming business. Second was utility business. Utility, when I say the people, like suppose in Bangalore, we pay a Bescom. The Bescom, the solution can be from cash free, because those were the spaces where we have say very strong holding. So we started doing all the marketing activities as per that, because business needs to grow. We know that e-commerce will take some time, and people don't want to switch their payment gateway very easily. that was also a big challenge. So we define those. Let's penetrate this market first because it's low hanging fruit for us. Low hanging fruit, when I say that, I have a lot of say content, case study. I know in and out of this world and how, as a Catchfree, as a brand, we can solve for it. So we started deep diving, producing a lot of content around this, and that really helped us to penetrate those market really well. So that definition need to happen. It has to be very mutual because we don't want to rub soldier with our say competitors, but within the organization we don't want to rub our soldier with our sales guys also. That is also important. We need to understand their pain areas because they want a closure faster. Marketing need to work align with them so that the closure can happen faster. That need to be taken care of. Now, sales enablement support. When you say sales enablement, it includes all things which helps the sales team to close faster. It might be that giving them some industry insight, like this many leads have come from this vertical. As we have this customer, we can use their customer testimonial and market them. Plus, getting the key metrics from them, like how you are helping them. Those things will help us to penetrate those market very easily. Instead of say losing the account, it will help us to close the account faster. So we have to always take consider, like suppose, as I mentioned, for the cash free utility as well as online gaming. So few big names were onboarded on cash free payment, and we started marketing activities on those industry through them, like Rummy Circle, big names. So Ludo King, it will help the other players also to follow that because your competitor is using that, so you can also help them to penetrate those market and get those accounts easily. Plus, giving them more of say case study, product sheet, product demo, industry specific, competitive analysis, like what features you have which your competitor doesn't have. If you give anyone that your competitor is using this, then most likely you will get a say meeting with the same company because your competitor is using this. These things always work. So you need to align the sales and marketing accordingly so that everyone is on the same table so that the closure can happen faster. The last point, fourth, is say transparent reporting. You should tell your salespeople also from where you have got this lead. It might be through inbound, might be say outbound. Plus, uh, sales will also get a vibe. Like most of the companies, if you see, when the leads come through inbound channels, they are more likely to convert. So people, salespeople also, they know that, if you give them a channel data, like this many leads have come from Google, and earlier Google has produced this data, through that you have this much conversion. So that really helps. So that the salespeople can also prioritize, channel wise, like lead which has come from the Google, it's a high intent for me because the chances of conversion of those leads are much higher. So those things can be taken care, but that communication need to happen between sales and marketing. So that monologue need to be again happening on the regular basis. It can't be that every quarterly they meet, they interact, or every monthly they meet and interact. They talk about their numbers. These are the target. But I think that a monologue need to happen on the weekly basis so that you can give a proper download that this many leads have come from this. The why I'm talking to you, because this lead has a higher chance of conversion. When you say high chances of conversion, then again you should say the logic why. The why is people are engaging with your content. Might be say a website, might be through app. So that communication need to happen so that both the teams are totally aware that these things can help them to convert faster. Because anyway, both teams work for the organization. It might be that with a different objective. Sales talk about say awareness or say lead generation. Sales will talk about say marketing will talk about say awareness and lead generation. Sales might talk about say a conversion or sales closure. But if you see the real world example, both are working to get more account closer for an organization. It might be say whatever phase, might be say growth phase, might be say already a enterprise. There also same thing happen, but it needs a particular communication need to happen between sales and marketing. Marketing people always complain, sales has closed this with very less margin, or there's no profit while closing this. But you have to understand that sales are not doing it willingly. They are changing the numbers, which marketing guys are not doing it. You know, marketing's objective or the KPI is for generating this many leads from this verticals or this industry might be, but the sales are the people who go on the floor and get that numbers. So when I say this need to happen, sync up need to happen between sales and marketing on the regular basis, so that both the teams are aligned and how to go ahead from that. They should speak to each other basically, so that they can help each other to get that number. Any question over here?
No, Tarun, I think no one has any question. We can go ahead.
Okay. Now, this is common which happens between sales and marketing, because both of the team, they complain each other about the funnel. Like sales will say that marketing has given the junk lead to them, those are not converting. Then again, a clash happened between these two teams. So as I was mentioning earlier also, like there should be a proper SLA to outcome, so that the clash doesn't happen. Then having a regular joint meeting between sales and marketing, so that pipeline is always in check, and they have a say healthy discussion on the lead scoring model as well as the lead feedback. Like this lead is converting, then why it is converting. Marketer, you should know that. And for sales, it is a great insight that from where this lead has come and it has converted so fast, so that they communicate, they understand the lead flow, what is working for us, what is not working for us. This communication need to happen between both the function. Now the third point is sharing a dashboard. So this happened at the very C-level executive, that you share a dashboard between, because sales head might be knowing that what are the key parameters, how they are generating leads, what the CAC, plus how the revenue is going to come from this account. But same way, it is very important for the marketing person also to understand that why they are able to close this lead, what are the key understanding out of that. Now the last point is, again, the planning should be very collaborative in nature. Okay. Anyone has any question? Any
Guys,
question?
anyone has any question, please feel free to raise your hand and call out your question. No, looks good as of now, Tarun.
And the last point is a collaborative planning. You can take their feedback on the messaging part, and little bit of you can give them insight also, like what you are planning. Take their inputs also, because both the teams are there to win for the organization, not for the individual function. So I think to summarize this, a regular communication and the clear expectation plus the shared goals will help us to align marketing and sales in one platform, which will help any company to succeed, get success, and help the company to grow also. And the last is, again, I'm open for any questions which you have.
Perfect, guys. Thanks for the entire presentation, Tarun. Definitely learn a lot of new terminologies and how marketing look at sales, especially the last part. There's always a tussle between marketing and sales. Sales is saying where the leads, marketing is giving the lead. So, guys, for the Q&A part for Tarun, we will wrap it up here because Shashwat will take another 8 minutes to join. So anyone has any, so Tarun comes with almost 13 14 years of experience in marketing. Anyone has any questions with respect to how marketing sees sales, or how marketing enables sales in order to do more? Feel free to shoot all your questions. We'll start with you, Ayush.
Hi Tarun, hi Shehzad, hi, good morning. So I missed the first 15 minutes part, but I got the gist about what you were discussing, and very well said the entire presentation. My solution or my product, what I'm dealing with is basically a SaaS for SMBs, right? Just khata book
Okay.
for hai, similar to, I'm like operating in that space. So whatever you have talked about, that's primarily for mid segment or enterprise level. But what could be quote 2-3 things from a marketing and sales perspective, which because we cannot do email, like my customer or my target audience is not email friendly, right?
Okay.
So we are doing meta ads and WhatsApp, of course. So these are the two channels which we are aware, but still there's always a tussle between marketing and sales. I'm representing sales, but there's always a tussle ki leads nahi hai and all that. So any specific recommendations for this category?
So tell me one thing, have you defined these are the parameters, like you are looking for leads from this industry? When you talk about SMBs, the employee size, revenue, have you defined those
So
without
my
given?
yeah, so my solution is like basically my company name is Rent Okay. So it's like a SaaS for PGs, hostels, co-living, or rental businesses. Whoever is doing a rental business,
Okay.
I'm having a solution for them. So
Okay.
so I have a defined audience and I know the persona and everything. So that's clear.
Just give me one sec. Yeah.
Yeah.
So generally you are running meta ads. So in meta ads, what sort of say campaigns you are doing it? If you can just elaborate a bit on it, because see, defining a target audience, that's fine, but how you're interacting with them, that's again thing. And
Okay.
tell me one thing, are you doing say WhatsApp integrated meta ads so that the people?
Yes, of course, we are doing this thing. Again, I don't have a very in detail. I don't have much idea because that's being handled by the marketing guy.
Okay.
I am so talking about from a sales perspective, or what could be the recommendation from your side so that I can pass on your recommendations
So
to them.
again, I have to deep dive a bit over there.
Okay.
Plus, do you have a CRM where you have written a comments against each and every leads? What the
Absolutely.
feedback is?
Absolutely.
Or
We
you
do.
have to check them that whether they are incorporating those or not. Because
Okay.
ideally, these things they should incorporate those. Okay.
Okay.
And if they are not incorporating, you should ask them why they are not incorporating, because there's always a lever to optimize those campaign as per the feedback.
Okay. Understood. Makes sense.
Okay.
Got it.
Because most of the time, that's what I'm saying. In ISOs, nothing can work. Nor marketing function can work without sales, nor sales can work without marketing. But there should be a proper communication. And if there is a gap, it's again a work of the say CMO or the chief sales officer or the CBO or say CEO to mandate those things, because those two functions should speak to each other.
Very true. Very true. Absolutely. Thank you, Tarun. Thank you.
Thanks, Ayush. Anyone else? If you have any question, please.
Anyone else, guys, with respect to whatever Tarun discussed, marketing, or how sales can take help from marketing? Anyone, please? Yes, Ashish.
Just a quick one. So, say if a sales says that MQL quality is poor, like how do you diagnose that effectively? Whether the issue is lead scoring, targeting, or maybe say follow-up speed? Because I think in India that's a bit of an issue, I believe, because like what if the reason is actually slow or inconsistent sales follow-up rather than bad leads?
Okay. So on that front, how do you mark any lead which are qualified, market qualified? If the sales team is doing it or say marketers are doing it, how? Because I'll just give you one example. At Cash Free, earlier there was a market qualifying team within marketing. Whatever leads we are bringing, the market qualifying team need to dial them up first, see the intent, they mark that SQL. It might be that out of that, say 30K leads are coming from say inbound channels, then 10K is coming from outbound channels. So what process do you follow at your end? Because if you can elaborate a bit over there, then only I can help you out that. Plus, if it is an India market, the chances of conversion from all the activities, little say 10 to 15%. It can't go up and above that.
Got it.
Ashish?
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, I'm more of a student. So I'm just like sort of studying this landscape and sort of trying to understand
Okay.
how things function. So the question was coming from that POV.
Again, see, every organization is a different setup or structure. I would say that. First thing is that in which setup or structure the organization is in. Like at Mowing Gas, there was a bit, say, if I talk about sales team, there was a separate inbound sales team, and they used to cater all the inbound leads, the leads which are coming from marketing effort. Okay. So at Cash Free, what was happening that there was a, say again, as I mentioned, there was a market qualifying team who is to dial up those leads coming from marketing. As per the intent, they used to mark them SQL, and then the sales people will take those lead. Okay. So down the line, what happened that there was a lot of say cost, as you mentioned, cost involved, manpower was there, plus uh, uh, if anyone is absent from that team, things were not moving in the right direction. Then slowly, what we did that we brought in say marketing automation platform. Okay, in marketing automation platform, we started capturing the lead with the MQL intent, like say be asking them the PAN numbers, business TAN numbers, then some GST numbers, so that we can acknowledge that that's a right lead from it has all the valid document. Now, when you automate those processes, it becomes easier for everyone to understand that how many leads come into a picture and where the drop off happening. It might be that people are just filling the lead for the namesake. They don't have a GST number or say a business identification number or TIN number, those kind of things. That's the first drop. So generally, if you see from lead to say those qualification, 50% drop happened there itself. So again, I would say that it depends on the structure, how you want to organize those, and
Got
under whom it falls, marketing or sales.
Got it. Thank you.
Anyone else, guys? Any other question for Tarun? Tarun, I have a question. Typically, what is since you have worked in SaaS, you have worked in B2C also and B2B, what is the typical ratio a healthy sales engine look like the ratio of inbound versus outbound?
See, it depends on the company also. I would say that in B2B, what I have seen that I might be say wrong over there, because if you talk about B2B, it's a very not volume based business. You have very defined target personas or targeted accounts whom you want to go after. Okay. In B2C, the whole universe is your market. So that's the difference. So in B2B, generally it is very less. I would say that 70 to 80% comes from inbound, 20% is outbound. Like most of the enterprise whom we want to target, any B2B space, it is through outbound, because those people existing have that system or solution provider in place to break that and get you the account or post that account. It's through outbound only. Inbound is just a platform to accelerate those. Like you call them for a physical event, you call them on the webinar, though you don't have an account, but you have to do this sort of activities to keep them engaged, so that next year, whenever the renewal comes, they always remind you that, I have done this and this activity with them. Give them at least a demo. Let me hear them out. So those exposure need to happen. Whereas B2C is mostly, I would say that outbound works better than inbound, because the whole universe is your market and you need hefty money to run the campaign to generate those inbound leads. Because when you start doing that, your competitors who want to penetrate, those also have a same way, or it might be that you have a bigger competitor. Like I will just give you example, like say Simply Learn versus Upgrad. If you see this, Upgrad has also enough money. Okay, Simply Learn has also enough money. But when you talk about one business model, I talk about there where they are tied up with the university. Like Upgrad has the upper hand than Simply Learn. Simply Learn, that business never took off that way like Upgrad, because that's the core USP which they have. Though the certification business, Upgrad was never a leader, it was always a Simply Learn, because they tie up with the PMP for PMI for PMP certification. Those kind of things Upgrad never took, and they never went that ahead. Simply Learn core business still is PMP. So basically in B2B, it is 80-20. In B2C, it is 60-40, I would say that.
So 80-20 means 80 you're saying will be outbound driven and 20 will be inbound driven.
Yeah.
Understood. Understood.
Plus, it needs a lot of say tech mechanism also. Like say you need automation, a lot of tools required to run that show.
Understood. Fine. That's the question from my side. Anyone else, guys? Has any other question? Otherwise, Shashwat is here. We can start off with Shashwat. Anyone? No? Fine. In that case, Tarun, thank you so much, for this session on a Saturday morning. And, I can understand how you are firefighting for this, especially the deck. And from my understanding, and as much as I know the community, we are all, salespeople. And the things that you explain and the terminology that you explain, it's not available in the public. So thanks for, taking the time and sharing your experience and things, which will also help us to align with our marketing team. And, end of the day, we both understand it's for the revenue. So if the team is aligned, we get the most out of it. So thank you so much. You have also spent time for the Q&A. So thank you so much, Tarun. Any last words before we wrap up and we move to Shashwat?
No, I'm good. Thanks for this opportunity, Shahzad.
Pleasure is mine, Tarun. Thank you so much. So Shashwat is in the house, and I'm gonna pin Shashwat. And Shashwat, you can start off with your introduction and followed by your deck. We have almost 45 minutes. So you're the man of the hour. Over to you.
Awesome. Without too much into the introduction, I'll directly jump into the slides. Let me know if it is visible. Are you able to see it?
Yes, Shashwat, we can see it.
Awesome. So guys, my name is Shashwat. I am co-founder and fractional CMO for Helix Consulting, close to about 24 years of experience. And for the last 8 years, I'm purely doing fractional work. And largely, I have been in B2B all along. Now, this particular session, we can keep it as open as possible. You guys can interrupt me anywhere, and I'll take the questions. Largely, again, in 40 minutes, you can just about explain so much in marketing. So I've kept it as simple as possible. This is not a marketing sort of theory session. This is more like a practitioner's session. And the whole idea is that after you do the session, when you are speaking to the marketing folks, at least you understand the marketing folks better and they understand you better. That's the whole idea. I'll also cover how to kind of get into the 0 to 1 inbound journey. And if you have to map the expectations with the between the sales and marketing, or between the sales SDR and marketing, then how to ensure that you make it as smooth as possible. So largely, that is the objective of this deck, roughly about 10-12 slides. And I've tried to keep it at as high level as possible, so that while it explains you the entire concept, it does not go too much into theory. I'll also circulate the slides so you guys can just focus on the discussion, and you don't have to read through the slide, whatever is written here. I've tried to keep it in a manner that even after this presentation, in case if you have to do it as a refresher, then all the concepts are kind of mentioned in it. So with that background, if there is any question, can take it up right now or directly jump into the slide. Shahzad? I'm not able to see you guys, so
you can
you'll
start
have to.
Shashwat. Anything, people will raise their hands and they will be asking you the questions.
Awesome. So I'm not able to see you guys. So Shahzad, you'll have to help me over there. And if there are any questions, just bounce it off me.
Sure.
Awesome. So why are we doing this session? There is a lot of expectation and reality mismatch. And that is something that hopefully this session will address in this entire thing. But before we do that, why do you need marketing, right? Why does it matter to the sales folks? So while there might be hundreds of things why it matters, I've put it down into 6 different buckets. Largely, the marketing folks should be able to help you with the demand, right? And when I say demand, then whatever leads that you're getting, it should help you at least get a qualified lead with a lot of context so that you are then able to have a meaningful conversation. That's the first one, which is very important. Then the second one, all of you are actually quota carrying folks. So for you, pipeline is very important, and how the pipeline is moving, that velocity is very important. So if you have a lead and if it is stuck somewhere, how can you take the help of marketing to actually jumpstart that conversation? That is the second very important reason. The third, as we discussed, when you're getting the leads, if you can get the full context, then obviously you will have a better conversation, and then you will have a better win rate, or even objection handling will be better. Obviously, your marketing cannot solve everything, but at least if you have the context, then you can on your own answer a whole lot of questions, and you're better prepared because of it, right? The other thing, and the fourth bucket is very, very important, which is that actually marketing provides a air cover to the sales force. And what I mean by air cover is it provides the branding context. Now, in this presentation, I'm not consciously covering the brand aspect because that might become too confusing. And so I've left the brand out of this deck. But if there is any questions on the brand side, I can take it up maybe one-on-one later, or maybe Shehzad can forward all those questions to me and I can take them up. The very important part is, obviously, as we discussed, that if we have alignment, then it's a win-win situation for sales as well as marketing. And for that to happen, the last block is very important, which is if you give better feedback, if you give a very nuanced feedback to marketing, marketing will be able to kind of hopefully target better, will be able to give you much better quality leads. One of the challenges that traditional marketing had was you will get a lot of MQLs, and by the time it reaches sales, you guys will say that this is either not relevant or they were not looking for it. So if you are able to give that exact feedback to marketing, then they should be able to refine it and fuel the whole demand engine. So that's broadly the 6 buckets that we are looking at. Right? Now, as I understand, amongst you guys, you have the SaaS guys. Some of you will also be doing ITES, or maybe in future, or you're already doing it. So what is the difference between a SaaS marketing and ITES? Not deep diving too much into it, but what is the playbook? That is something that I just wanted to cover in this particular slide. That typically the SaaS buyer path is you have a search, people are searching for your product, there's a need, and then there's a demo that happens, and then the decision that happens. Now, largely this is true for lower mid-market or SME type of thing. If it is the enterprise or upper mid-market, then you move towards the ITES kind of buying behavior, which is that you have the referral or you have the content, or you have the case study, which kind of creates the context of branding. Then you develop stakeholder trust, and then a decision happens. Now, in both these cases, it can go from 3 months of a buying cycle right up to 8 to 9 months. And in some cases, you even have 15, 20 months of big ITES deals. It takes about 2 years to close it. So you have variety of it, but just for the simplicity sake, I have tried to capture it in these two buckets. Now, why are we discussing this? Is there a shared playbook, right? So how can the alignment happen that when you are first talking to the prospect, how do you avoid the friction? How do you ensure that that smooth handoff from marketing to sales happens, so that when you are actually meeting up the prospect, you have a much better experience. You are able to provide a much better experience. You have the complete context, and you will then be able to convert from the SAL to the opportunity, and will also provide the velocity to get into the deal closure. Whether the actual closure happens or not, that's completely up to you. But at least this experience will be as smooth as possible. So that's the purpose of marketing. Essentially, how do we ensure that this journey is as smooth as possible and there's no interruption in between? The buyer should not feel suddenly, why are you contacting me? I have not filled up this form. I have not done this. I have not done that. All those questions you should not have. So that's the simple handoff rule that we should have in this kind of a marketing and sales playbook. Now, before we jump into how we do the inbound marketing, some SaaS terms, which, since all of you are sellers, it's important to at least get these basics right. Who exactly is your ICP? I'm sure you guys would have discussed it umpteen number of times. But what I see in a lot of organizations is the alignment between who is an ICP, between the sales, between the SDRs, and between the marketing is not there. So you need to have a common definition of who are the companies that can help you win more, right? This is very important for sales as well as marketing. The second thing that is very important is who are the personas to target. By that, essentially, it means that largely in enterprise, 12 to 15 people in a buying group that you need to contact. And today, it's slightly different versus maybe in the past. Today, you need to have a multi-threading. What that essentially means that suppose if you have a IT, you have the finance, you have the HR, depending on which departments you are targeting, I would take at least 8 to 10 such designations, personas, and then target them using a multi-threading approach. What that gives you is that it will, one, give you an air cover. It will ensure that the branding piece is already done by marketing, so that by the time maybe you are contacting the CFO, by the time you are contacting the decision maker who's a CXO, who's not a direct decision maker, then they know about the company. It should be something which is a very smooth kind of a persona transition. They should not be saying that, what is this company? Say, like in field assist, what we had to do was we went after the guys who were looking after the sales, right? National sales. Then we were looking at the IT. We were also looking at the digital transformation. And apart from that, if there is a DMS product, then we are also looking at the finance or CFO. So how can you approach about 10 to 15 such guys within a single account? That becomes very important. The other thing, which is, again, from the basics point of view, from the maths point of view, what is important is the customer acquisition cost. There are a variety of definitions in this, but what it essentially means that what is the cost marketing plus sales plus demand generation plus any kind of branding that you're doing to acquire it. Now, some of it, people also include the people cost. Some don't include the people cost, but whatever the case is in your organization, you have to figure out what is the customer acquisition cost and what is the customer acquisition cost that is acceptable in the organization. What is that band? That is, at least you must know this term. The other important term is that what is the lifetime value that you will generate, which essentially means that typically if the contract is mostly 1 year or maybe 2 years, 3 years, then over the 3-year period, including all the discounts, including the change management that will happen, including the one-time cost, how much will you earn from the customer? Now, if you have that, then you at least have some sense that if the customer acquisition cost is more than lifetime value, then it's a problem in the company. And you have to figure out how do you improve to ensure that the company does not bleed. So these are basics, and this is important because then you are very clear that when marketing folks are giving you the leads, you know that if this channel is very costly, then how to treat that channel, that becomes very important. Now, before I kind of again jump into the inbound piece, I wanted to cover typical funnel vocabulary. And most of you guys are already going through it, so you already know it. So the left-hand side is where typically the linear funnel is happening, right? 2020 or 2023, this is how it was happening. You had an inquiry, it went into the MQL bucket, it went into the SQL bucket, it went into the SAL bucket. That is when the sales say that, okay, these leads are good enough leads. And then it moves to the opportunity bucket, and then the opportunity stages start taking over. You have the demo, you have the proposal stage, you have the negotiation stage, and you have the closure stage. This was the linear funnel that as we knew it. Now, what has happened in the last 2-3 years because of the AI thing, that right part is how things are moving. It is no longer moving in a single path. You have the dark social, you have variety of ways in which people are trying to understand your product and understand a very important stat that almost 80-85% worldwide, any company, 80-85% before engaging with the salesperson, they have already done the search. They know about the product, they know everything about you in particular, and then they are engaging with the salesperson. This is the stat was from 6 Sense. And so in this new scenario, how do you ensure that you get the best out of it? So there are 3 things, that very basic 3 things. One, is there an intent? Is there a fitment in the account? And has this guy actually asked for your product, right? If all these 3, and this is what I call triage, if all these 3 are kind of fitting together, that is a very good lead. And that is something that ideally you should follow up. So why are we doing this? a lot of things have changed in the last 3-4 years. So now it is no longer moving in a funnel, and hence, if you identify that, okay, this is a good high intent lead, they have raised their hand, and it's a good fitment for the organization, you should not miss that opportunity, right? Let me know if I'm going too fast. Happy to slow down. Before again coming to the inbound part, all of you would have this question: where are we getting these leads from, right? So there are multiple channels. Again, the high intent ones is when you do the Google search, when you actually do paid ads, or when if it is coming from the review sites like G2 and Capterra, you can assume that it's a high intent lead, right? Then you have the mid intent piece, where typically in a webinar or an event, once you actually get those leads, those are the mid intent ones. And the last one is LinkedIn paid organic piece, where you kind of have the designations, you know who you are targeting, and this is the perfect fitment for targeting, right? Now, this was the traditional way of looking at it, right? Now what has happened with AI coming in and with the answer engine piece, where you go to the chat GPT and figure out all the questions and get your answers, now this entire thing is flipped. So now the fit targeting becomes very important. LinkedIn becomes very important. The G2 review sites become very important, because by that time they are already searching, they are already in that buying zone. And the last thing that it comes is the search part. So the entire thing has flipped in the last 2-3 years. That is very important. People also call it the zero organic zero lead thing, or zero. There are various nomenclatures around it, but essentially it means the same thing, that the entire thing is flipped. Now, why is it important? Because a lot of times you will have leaky buckets, right? You want to understand, when you are looking at a lead, you should be very clear: is this a vanity metric? Is this something which is useful to me, or is this not useful to me, right? So if somebody is giving you impressions, likes, clicks, it's a directionally good input, but a useless input for you. You will not be able to convert into pipeline if you get this kind of a, just because somebody has liked, doesn't mean that they will want to buy your product, right? So this is something that you should ask marketing. What kind of metric is a good metric? Is if you get the cost per meeting, if you get the meeting to opportunity rate has been very good with that channel, and from that channel you're getting it, then that's a good metric to follow. If there is a good opportunity to win from some channels, for example, if in your case LinkedIn is giving very good opportunity to win rate, then you go after the LinkedIn leads, because you know historically your company has actually generated better leads from that. So this kind of a channel metrics is something that if you keep in mind, it is good. Now understand that what will also happen is many of the people who are coming to you are coming from, say, not just the last touch. So they might have seen the LinkedIn about 2 months back. They saw your ad about 2 weeks back. They met you at the event, and then now they are talking. So in this particular case, it is a combination, and there the revenue metrics is very difficult to gauge. But then in that scenario, you have to figure out other metrics, but largely this is true. So It's very important that you have to ensure that the moment you see a lead, whether this will convert or not, whether there is any probability of conversion. Between marketing and sales, you guys should be very clear on these aspects. So the big thing, how do you build the inbound journey from 0 to 1? What's the playbook for it? Right? So the way I do it is you define the ICP. Remember the ICP that we discussed previous couple of slides. What is your ICP? What has been the buyer journey? What is it that will actually entice the prospect to say, yes, I am interested? Very important. Why now? And that's where the intent signal and scoring becomes very important. That why are you meeting now? Why am I interested now? Why will I buy now? If those answers are not there, then you're wasting your time, right? So your lead qualification should give you those answers. Once you do that, then you have certain routing patterns. What leads to be sent for nurture, what leads to be sent directly to the, I'll cover it in the next one. And then once you get the lead, what should be your SLA for follow-up? And how will you measure, how will you ensure that with the help of the marketing guys, how do you iterate and ensure that the entire thing works for you, both marketing as well as the sales force? So that's broadly the 8-step playbook. I'll cover some important ones in the next couple of slides. For example, how once you are trying to get the prospect to fill an inbound, there has to be a hook. Why will that person actually fill up the form? Why will they attend your webinar? What is that intent signal? Why do they want to engage with you? That part should be very, very clear. Once you have the capture piece, then how do you route it? And once you route it, how will the sales guy get to know that I've got this lead and I have to follow up? These are very important steps for setting up the inbound. But I wanted to jump directly into, once you get the lead, what do you do? Right? So in this, there is a very important golden window kind of time. If it is a very high intent zone, then you should try and answer them immediately. And I understand all of you guys are busy. So have a SLA that immediate means 2 hours, 3 hours, and that's acceptable. Or is it 15, 20 minutes? Figure out that part, right? Because you will not have too many high intent zone leads. But if it is coming, then within that golden period, if you address, then there is a good chance of getting that into the opportunity stage. Because after that, both the intent on their side, they would have spoken to a couple of other guys, something would have happened, and there is a diversion and there's possibility of losing that lead. So that's very important. Second one is so these are high intent ones. Then the standard ones, how will you ensure that you will do a follow-up the first day, day 3, day 7? What is the standard cadence for it? Then when you're doing this cadence, what kind of information that you need? What are the intent that are possible? Why does the system think that this is a ICP match? What has been shown previously, so that remember we talked about there shouldn't be interruption. How can you ensure that the interruption does not happen in the mind of the buyer? And then if all of this process is not followed, what are the escalation rules and within what time period? Once you fill all of this, once you do all of this, the most important part is the last part. What is the best practice from marketing to sales, or marketing to SDR to sales? How will the handoffs happen? And then this is one side. How will the handoff happen from sales to maybe back to SDR, sales to back to marketing? Because you will have those cases. All of this should be written down in a document and should be adhered. System adherence is the best adherence, but this is very important and everybody should be on the same page. This is where all the misalignment happens. So this is where, if you are able to handle it, you will have lesser and lesser issues, lesser and lesser fights, and it will be a win-win for both sales as well as marketing. Again, remember that triage of inbound. What can sales expect from inbound, right? So once you're getting the leads from marketing, what is the context? Who is the prospect? Why is the role and company match is happening? And that means that they will also give you the size, they will also give you the tech stack. If there has been a previous if there is a previous contract that has been running from a different company, then that kind of information, as much research as possible, this marketing should give you, so that you build on top of it. And you should ask for it, quite honestly. So that's very important. Then the readiness and urgency. Why now? This question is something that most people don't ask, but that's very important. Whenever you're getting the leads, you should have a 20-30 minute session with the marketing folks, and they should explain you why now. Why do you think that this lead score is high? And just because lead score is high doesn't mean that they have a need. Is there a hand raise, right? If they are looking for a demo, then what has been served before they reach the demo stage? All of these answers you should get. Again, a simple 10-second rule. If there is a hand raise, call now. If there is an intent plus fitment, call and then do a sequence. And if there's only a fitment, there's no hand raise, there's no intent, then it is better to do a sequence and nurture and then call them up. Just because somebody has filled a white paper somewhere in the middle of the night doesn't mean that they will buy from you. You should be very, very clear with marketing that these kind of useless leads, I don't want. You nurture, and then once that lead score goes up and you give me the context, that is when I will take the lead. Otherwise, I'll not take the lead. This kind of a conversation is very important with marketing. This will actually save you a lot of trouble later. Now, this is one side of the things that how do you expect better leads? But marketing also has a lot of expectations from sales, right? If your quota is getting filled by the leads, you have to respect the fact that I have to give the complete information and the context that when I approach this lead, what happened. It should not stay in your brain. It should not stay in your emails. It should not stay in your notebooks. It should not stay on your gongs of the world, right? You have to put it in CRM. You have to ensure that marketing gets that information. Why is it important? Because once they get that information, then they will be able to fine tune. Then they can say that, okay, for example, Again, going back to the field assist example, distilleries were a good, they had a good distribution system, and many of the competitions were selling, but it was not good fitment for field assist. And we did not know that, right? Sales had those conversations, but maybe the product knew it, but marketing did not know it. So we were still running some campaigns and getting those leads, and those were useless leads from the sales point of view. So this kind of a conversation should be avoided as far as possible. You should be very clear that, okay, you visualize that this is how a good company looks like. This is the right designation, and these kind of leads I want. They should have these ABC criteria, and then once those criteria are met, why did they not? Why did they go cold? Why did they go warm? Why did we not? What was missing? Why? See, if you have nuanced discussion on this part, you will actually get better leads. Let's put it that way. So this part is very important. I have to keep it as simple as possible in terms of why it matters, what is the quick action that you can take, and you can go through it once you get the slides. Happy to answer any of those questions later or during this presentation. So we covered all of this from inbound, but largely again, what is sales expectation from marketing? So if there's one thing that as salespeople you should tell marketing, your respective marketing, is please don't surprise the field, right? Don't give any new product information suddenly and you ask me to sell, right? Or give me some leads where there's no context, or give me something which is you're not even clear why now, but you have just tried to meet your quota and given those leads, right? So those are very important, because if you are clear in this aspect, remember the triage. What is the intent? Why now? Why will they convert now? And the third one is there a fitment? Very ruthlessly look at all the leads that you're getting. Specify the criteria and ensure that you get this. Of late, another thing is happening in marketing, which is MQLs are literally useless. So if you are getting a MQL leads, you should ensure that don't accept it. You should be very, very clear that MQL, SQL are all literally wasting your time. You have to be very clear which kind of lead will directly move into opportunity. Anything which is not fulfilling that condition, you should be very clear that please go on nurturing and give me once it is kind of sales ready. And this you can only do if you give that feedback to marketing, because suddenly marketing will not have that dream that this is what the sales wants, right? They will be in a different world. You are in a different world. You have to ensure that these two matches. It's your responsibility as well as the marketer's responsibility, but you have to ensure that the twain should meet. If otherwise, the purpose is lost. Right? So, how can you avoid the conflict? Ensure that when you are getting the leads, it is the quality that you want, right? You have all those things in the handoff, that why now, the intent, what is the stuff that has been shown earlier, the fitment part, why does marketing think that this is a good lead? And the last part, research on the account or on that person. All of this, you should not be wasting your time. Sales should get all this information. From your side, you have to ensure that once you have attended the lead, what happened, right? Will they buy now? Will they buy after 6 months? Will they buy after 12 months? Or they are just generally figuring out, right? You have to give that information back in as detailed manner as possible. Not, not like a mail that this is a useless lead. Now, why is it useless? You have to qualify it. As far as possible, try to give a very nuanced answer. I know that will take some time, but it will help you. These basics are very, very important. And then you need to, between marketing and sales, you need to have an escalation matrix that if you are not addressing the leads in particular time, what happens? And if marketing is not giving all those information, what happens? Right? That escalation matrix should be very, very clear. So just to summarize, one-pager sheet, what is important? ICP, persona, CAC, LTV, we discussed all of it. MQL, it is worth a look, but you don't want MQLs. Say SQL is okay, but sales accepted leads is what you should be gunning for, because that is the lead which is very important. That is the one that is likely to get into the opportunity stage. Once you get all of this, obviously you'll have to call the guy as a SDR or as a salesperson. So you need to have that background information, right? You need to have that background research, and you need to have that answer that why now? What triggered you to get into a discussion now? You see, all of these are busy people. You are also busy, right? Generally, people will not jump into a call unless they're very clear that I am on the lookout, right? So you should be very clear, why are they on the lookout, right? You should be very clear that in the 90 days, suppose if you buy the product, what is the change that you want to see, right? So that part should be very, very clear. And then what does success look like? At least, even if you don't have complete clarity, at least some visualization. For example, in marketing, what we do is JTBD, where jobs to be done for, say, a CFO. What is the jobs to be done, whether on the emotional side or on the social side, and ask for these information. Marketing should be able to give you what does success look like for this particular profile or for this particular company, because now with AI, hyper-personalization is possible, and marketing should be able to give you these details very specific to that person and to that company, right? If you have these information, then you'll have a better call. And the idea is that if you have a better call, the likelihood of moving to opportunity is much better. Eventually, whether the sale happen or not, that is completely up to you. But at least you have the funnel, you get good quality leads into the funnel. And then the last thing is on the SLA part, what does marketing own, what does sale own, and how will the things eventually happen. That's my last slide on the presentation. This is Shashwat Ghosh. If anyone wants to contact, here is my QR code, and this will directly get you into the LinkedIn. And these are the two ways in which I kind of engage. Happy to take any questions. Shazad.
Perfect. Shashwat, first of all, thank you so much. You were running across places and you were able to, give us that time. I understand, what volume and business you operate at, and still, you showed up on a Saturday. Means a lot for the community and especially for me. So before we move on, guys, anybody has any question for Shashwat with respect to whatever was discussed? Because I can see there were a lot of new words, the new way of looking. Probably I'll also operate in a different way from now on when interacting with marketing. Any questions, please raise your hand. I'll call out your name and you feel free to ask the question. Yes, Sagar.
Hi, Shashwat. Thank you for the broader outline of about sales and marketing. I'm into this enterprise sales and I'm dealing with the integration and automation platform. Now you said about the ICPs and the personas. In persona, you're saying like 5 to 6 people or 8 people you should target. But